Question number 9, the Honourable Phil Twyford.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is for the Minister of Immigration. Does she agree with the Prime Minister who told a business audience that when it comes to immigration, when faced with a choice between social stability and your bottom line, I will choose the former every single time? If so, why?
The Honourable Erica Stanford.
Speaker, yes, particularly in the wider context of the Prime Minister's speech. New Zealand has a long and proud history of welcoming migrants. They make a valued contribution and bring a rich cultural diversity to our shores. However, we must also maintain public trust and confidence that has been undermined by unsustainable net migration, inadequate checks and balances in 2022-2023, record migrant exploitation over that time, and residents' decisions in 2021 that waived the usual English and health requirements and gave residence to over 230,000 people. I am working hard to improve that trust, including by requiring relevant experience in basic English for lower skilled roles, action when employers are not engaging with MSD when required, enforcing maximum continuous stay requirements for temporary work visas, and yes, holding the line on English language requirements for skilled residents.
Supplementary. Does she stand by her statement that, oh well, that's an election year, I'm not the type of person that uses immigration to dog whistle? And if so, can she explain to the House what social instability the Prime Minister was referring to?
Well, there are two legs to that, and I'll answer the first leg. And it is, Mr Speaker, I made those comments not in relation to the Prime Minister's comments or speech. In fact, the Prime Minister's comments were extraordinarily balanced in trying to explain that on the one hand we have to have this very delicate balance between making sure that we are protecting jobs for Kiwis and maintaining the integrity of the immigration system, while also on the other hand ensuring that businesses have access to the skills that they need. That careful and delicate balance we have been doing for the last 2 years to restore the public confidence in the immigration system, and we've done a very good job at it.
Supplementary. Why didn't she call out Shane Jones for his butter chicken comments if she's not the type of person that uses immigration to dog whistle?
Mr Speaker, I made comments on the tiles that those comments were Mr Speaker.
Chinese sounding name?
Yeah, that's enough. Supplementary question, the Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Reconcile signing on to the India Free Trade Agreement's novel immigration settings for 5,000 new migrant visas covering, quotes, skills shortages, unquotes, like musicians and yoga teachers, when there are 163,000 unemployed New Zealanders?
Well, Mr Speaker, two things. Firstly, they're not novel. They are very similar points that were things that were put into the China Free Trade Agreement, and predominantly for the most part of those 5,000, a vast majority of those are jobs that are on the green list. People that we need, like doctors, lawyers, sorry, not lawyers, we don't need any more lawyers, doctors, nurses, teachers, engineers, and people who are in high skilled roles that are in demand on the green list. Mr Speaker, there are a very small number of other occupations that are similar to the China Free Trade Agreement that are included, like chefs and yoga instructors. But the first thing is, I'd have to note, Mr Speaker, is that they have to be labour market tested, and there has to be a genuine job here in New Zealand for those roles, and if there are no genuine jobs available, then they will not be filled. And that is evidenced, Mr Speaker, under the China Free Trade Agreement for those similar occupations, those iconic occupations we call them, and that for the most part we don't fill them apart from the chefs because there is just not the demand in New Zealand for those roles.
Sorry, point of order, Mr Speaker.
No, well, I'm just about to say that your last answer was drowned out predominantly by the Minister's side, so you can ask that question again.
Thank you. That was going to be my point of order. Why didn't she call out Shane Jones for his butter chicken comments if she's not the type of person that uses immigration to dog whistle?
Mr Speaker, the answer to that question is I did.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Phil Twyford.
Who is correct? Christopher Luxon, who said, look, I mean, we're going to really need more immigration into New Zealand, or Winston Peters, who repeatedly says the opposite?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I always agree with the Prime Minister, and he is correct. We are not producing enough babies in this country to ensure that we have a stable or even growing population. We are going to rely on migration, a smart, targeted immigration system that makes sure that there are some members in the House who have done quite well, like the two people to my left, but on balance, we're not having enough babies, Mr. Speaker, to ensure that our population is stable. It's actually a very serious point. We will have a declining population if it isn't for smart, skilled immigration, which is why I've been working really hard over the last 2 years to make sure that our policies, while also well balanced, are attracting the skilled migrants that we need to make sure that we're growing a productive economy.
Parliamentary.
The Honourable Simeon Brown.
Is it her policy?
When your own side
sorry.
is quiet, you can continue.
Is it her policy to determine people's citizenship based on whether or not they have a Chinese-sounding last name as a former Labour Party housing spokesperson may have done in the past?
That's not a reasonable question, and there'll be a consequential penalty for that. The Right Honourable Winston Peters, point of order?
No.
Well, the problem here is that New Zealand First have used up their supplementary allocation for the week, but given the... Excuse me, just a moment. Given the nature of the question, the Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Thank you. How does the government reconcile signing on to the India Free Trade Agreement's novel immigration settings for uncapped student visas when youth not in employment, education or training is at the high of 14.4%, and New Zealand youth are the ones that deserve the work first?
Well, Mr. Speaker, granting international student places is a very different thing than making sure that there are jobs here for New Zealanders. I would also like to note that we have not for a very long time, as long as I can remember, relied on caps for any student numbers. We have a range of different levers that we pull and push to determine student numbers, like the amount of money they have to bring with them, like prior qualifications. There are a number of things that we can use to either increase or decrease the numbers, and we do that depending on New Zealand's requirements.
Supplementary.
The Honourable Phil Twyford.
Who's correct? The Prime Minister, who last night signalled he would cut immigration in the name of social stability, or Christopher Luxon, who said you've got to actually free up immigration settings and get rid of red tape so that business can grow.
Sorry, can you ask the question again? I think you used the same person twice.
One was the Prime Minister, one was Christopher Luxon.
Oh, yeah, well, just a moment, Mr Jones. You've got to ask a question that the Minister has direct responsibility for. You can't ask him to reflect on your views.
Mr Speaker, they're not my views, but they're both direct quotes. One from the Prime Minister, one from that person before he was the Prime Minister.
You're asking the Minister to reflect on two quotes that you're pulling out from two different people. She has responsibility for a portfolio of responsibilities, not for anything else.
Okay. Supplementary. Who's correct? The Prime Minister, who signalled he would cut immigration in the name of social stability?
Mr. Speaker, that is not an accurate representation of what the Prime Minister said. He did not say that he would cut immigration. What he was talking about was a smart...
It's enough, Mr Jones.
The Prime Minister was talking about having a well-balanced and smart immigration system that works for New Zealanders. And as I mentioned before, getting that balance right between making sure we're putting Kiwis first for jobs, which is why we have insisted on maintaining the maximum continuous stay rule of 3 years, so that when low-skilled workers are required to leave, that they do leave to free up jobs for New Zealanders, while also making sure that businesses have access to the skills that they need. It is a delicate balance, and one that we have been undertaking in the last 2 years extraordinarily well.
Supplementary. Why does the government continue to put out mixed messages on immigration, and why are they joining New Zealand First in a culture war that no one asked for?
No, you can't ask that question. That's out.